My husband slapped me in front of his mother, thinking she'd support him. But what she did next stunned the whole room and ruined his life. For 3 years, I'd been walking on eggshells around David. The hits started small: a backhand when dinner was cold, a shove when I disagreed with him in front of his friends, a grip on my arm hard enough to bruise when I forgot to pick up his dry cleaning. Always behind closed doors, always followed by apologies, always with flowers the next day, always with promises it would never happen again, until it did. His mother, Margaret, had been visiting for the weekend, Friday through Sunday. 3 days of inspection, 3 days of judgment, 3 days of trying so hard to be the perfect wife. Margaret Morrison was everything I wasn't: polished, educated, old money from Boston, designer clothes, perfect posture. The kind of woman who made you feel poor just by looking at you. She'd made it clear from day one that I wasn't good enough for her son. The girl from the wrong side of town who trapped her boy with a pregnancy scare that turned out to be nothing. The waitress who didn't go to college, the nobody who married somebody. All weekend I'd been performing, made her favorite meals: beef Wellington, homemade pasta, herb-crusted salmon, cleaned the house twice daily, arranged fresh flowers in every room, bit my tongue when she criticized my cooking, my housekeeping, my clothes, my hair, my everything. The explosion came Sunday afternoon over something stupid, something so small it was almost funny. I'd accidentally used the good china for lunch instead of saving it for dinner, the Haviland porcelain. The set that had been in David's family for 4 generations, worth more than I made in a month as a part-time bookkeeper. David's face went red the moment he saw it on the table, that specific shade of red I'd learned to fear, the one that meant pain was coming. "What the hell is wrong with you?" His voice low, dangerous, controlled. "I specifically told you those were for tonight, for the special dinner, not for sandwiches at lunch." "I'm sorry," I whispered, already reaching to clear the table, already trying to fix it. "I'll wash them carefully and reset everything for dinner." I wasn't thinking. His mother sat right there at the head of the table, sipping her tea, Earl Grey with lemon, watching us with those cold blue eyes. I thought maybe her presence would keep him calm, keep him controlled, keep his hands to himself. I was wrong. David grabbed my wrist, hard, fingers digging in. I felt something pop. "You never listen, do you? You're too stupid to follow simple instructions, too common to understand the value of things." I tried to pull away, gentle, submissive. "Please, David, you're hurting me. I'll be more careful." His mother continued drinking her tea, face completely expressionless, like she was watching a mildly interesting television show. That's when he did it, right there in the dining room, right in front of his mother, in the middle of the day with sunlight streaming through the windows. He drew back his hand and slapped me across the face, hard, open palm. The sound echoed in the room like a gunshot. The impact sent me stumbling backward into the sideboard, my cheek burning, exploding with pain, copper taste in my mouth, blood from where my teeth cut the inside of my cheek. I stood there, stunned, frozen, one hand on my face, the other gripping the sideboard for balance, waiting for his mother to gasp, to object, to stand up, to do something, anything. She'd always been so proper, so concerned with appearances, so obsessed with what people thought, how things looked. Instead, she set down her teacup with a delicate clink, china on china, the sound impossibly loud in the silence, looked directly at her son. "David Anthony Morrison," she said, her voice cutting like a blade, like ice, like steel. "What did you just do?" Something in her tone made David freeze, made him go still, made the color drain from his face. "I asked you a question." She stood slowly, chair scraping against hardwood. "What did you just do to your wife?" David's face went through a progression, white, then red, then white again, confusion, then anger, then fear. "She was being disrespectful, careless. She needs to learn to follow instructions, to listen when I tell her something. You saw, she used the Haviland for lunch, after I specifically—" "I don't care about the china." Margaret's voice remained perfectly level, perfectly calm, which somehow made it more terrifying. "I asked what you just did. She needed to be corrected. You struck your wife, in my presence, in your home, in broad daylight." David straightened, defensive now. "She's my wife. This is between us. You don't understand how difficult she can be, how she never listens, how she—" His mother stood up, slowly, deliberately. She was a small woman, barely 5'4", slim, elegant, but somehow she filled the entire space, dominated the entire room. The look on her face was something I'd never seen before, not in 3 years of judgment and criticism, not anger exactly, something colder, more dangerous, more final. "Sit down," she said quietly. David hesitated, then sat, like a scolded child. Margaret walked over to me, each step deliberate, measured, her heels clicking on the hardwood. She examined my face, gentle fingers on my burn burning cheek, on my split lip, professional, clinical. How long has this been happening? I couldn't answer. Too scared, too confused, too shocked by this sudden shift. How long? Not a question, a command. 3 years, I whispered, voice breaking. Since 6 months after we got married. She nodded slowly, like this confirmed something, like she'd suspected, like she'd been waiting. Then she turned back to her son. Do you know who Rebecca was? David blinked, confused. What? Who? Rebecca Chen, my college roommate. Do you know who she was? No, I don't know what. She married a man like you. Margaret's voice was perfectly calm, perfectly controlled, like she was discussing the weather. Charming, successful, handsome, from a good family, Georgetown educated, law degree, partner track at his firm. The room went completely silent. Even the house seemed to hold its breath. He hit her, not often at first, just when she deserved it, just when she needed to learn a lesson, just when she was difficult or disrespectful or careless. Margaret walked to her purse, the expensive leather one, Hermes. She'd told me the price once to make me feel poor. I didn't know, not for years, not until it was too late. She never told me. She was too ashamed, too afraid, too convinced it was somehow her fault, that she'd provoked him, that she deserved it. She pulled something out, a leather folder, legal size. Rebecca died on a Tuesday morning, October 14th, 1987. Her husband pushed her down the stairs during an argument about burnt toast. She hit her head on the marble floor, fractured skull, brain hemorrhage. She was 32 years old. My hands started shaking. David had gone completely still. I went to the funeral. I saw the closed casket. I met her mother who could barely stand, her father who looked like he'd aged 20 years overnight, her little sister who was only 15. Margaret opened the folder. I swore on her grave that day that I would never let it happen again, that I would never miss the signs, never ignore what was right in front of me, never be complicit through silence. She laid papers on the table, photographs, dozens of them, me with a black eye last Christmas, a split lip from Easter, bruises on my arms from July, a swollen wrist from September, my neck with finger marks from last month. I've been documenting everything for 2 years, Margaret said, each word precise, each word deliberate. Every visit, every mark I saw, every excuse you made, every time you wore long sleeves in summer, every time you flinched when he moved too fast, every lie about falling downstairs or walking into doors. David stood up fast, chair clattering. Mother, you don't understand. She provokes me. She makes me lose control. If she would just sit down. He sat. I understand perfectly. Margaret's voice went even colder. You're just like him, just like Richard Chen. Just like the man who killed my best friend and spent 8 years in prison. Just like every other coward who hits someone smaller and weaker and more vulnerable. She pulled out more papers, bank statements, phone records, screenshots. I also understand that you've been hiding money, accounts I'm not supposed to know about. Transfers to private investments, cash withdrawals that don't appear in your shared accounts. David's face drained of all color, all blood, gone white as paper. Text messages with Melissa from your office, your associate. 2 years of messages. Hotel receipts, dinner receipts. A second apartment in Arlington I wasn't supposed to discover. She looked at me, her expression softening for the first time. Softening. Actually showing something like compassion. Evidence of financial abuse. Controlling the money. Making her ask for grocery money. Checking receipts. Criticizing purchases. Making her account for every dollar while you spend freely. More evidence. Emotional abuse. Calling her stupid, worthless, ugly, too fat, too thin, too loud, too quiet. Never good enough. Never right. Never acceptable. Pulled out her phone, set it on the table. Planning to increase your wife's life insurance policy from $100,000 to $500,000, while also planning a hiking trip to that difficult trail in the Blue Ridge Mountains. The one with the dangerous cliffs. The one where people have fallen. The one you've been researching online for 3 months. David lunged toward her, aggressive. That's when Margaret did something I never expected, something I would replay in my mind 1,000 times. She reached into her purse. Calm, controlled, smooth, professional grade, law enforcement grade. At her son's face, finger on the trigger. I've been waiting for an excuse. Excellent lawyers. Self-defense is very easy to prove, especially with witnesses, especially with recordings. David froze mid-lunge, mid-attack. Stopped completely. Recordings, plural. My phone has been recording this entire conversation. Confession. Everything. Extended her hand. You're leaving with me today. Right now. I have everything we need to destroy him. Legally, financially, completely. I have lawyers, I have a safe house, I have protection, I have evidence. I already have. Restraining order filed Friday. Divorce papers prepared. Criminal complaint ready. Assets frozen as of this morning. The firm have been notified. Your father has been notified. Everyone who matters has been notified. Coming in gasps. Face in his hands. Turned to me. Hand still extended. Steady. Strong. Question is, are you ready to leave? Ready to be safe? Ready to be free? At her hand. Manicured. Perfect. Steady as a rock. Then at David, broken, crying, pathetic, Then back at the woman who'd spent 3 years making me feel worthless, making me feel small, making me feel never good enough. The woman who'd been secretly saving my life, documenting everything, building a case, waiting for the right moment. Her hand, her grip was strong, secure, safe, and everything changed.